one thing about the term basic state or basic space that I think a lot of methods, traditions struggle with is that it is not passive. And what I mean by that is that it's not like when we speak of basic space of phenomena, that word phenomena, dharma, is the key to understanding what kind of basic space we are talking about. So this basic space is not a space of inactivity or passiveness. The opposite. It's the space of action and activity. It's a dynamic space. So, I think that a lot of systems and methods get a little confused about this because, well, there is the whole kind of view that quietive spirituality or dharma is about quietive lifestyle and quietive types of practice, which is just one interpretation, one style, but I think that's very widespread. And of course, if we think of quietive lifestyle, that stereotypically renunciative, quietive lifestyle and types of practice, it is easy to make that assumption and mistake that our basic nature, wakeful nature, would be that of inactivity or passiveness. And of course, we can make that assumption also because, yogis, yoginis, practitioners of yoga, we meditate sitting without moving physically a lot. That's the main form, right? But the reason why we do this sit still is because it enables looking at the functioning of our minds. It gets easier when our physical body is not in movement. It gets easier to watch the mind and make sense of it and get insights from looking at it. But anybody who's sat, who has meditated for some time, understands that there's lots of things happening physically, even when we sit still, and also mentally, in the subtle bodies. Lots of things happening. It's a different thing if we have the ability, the skill to notice that lots of things are happening, but nevertheless, and of course, speaking about passive or quietive or active or dynamic styles of Dharma practice, we have lots of dynamic practices in Amrita Mandala and in general in tantric branches of Hinduism or Buddhism. Lots of dynamic practices. Really, you could say that it's the dynamicity of the whole tantric vehicle that is the heart of it. So, Tantra is about body work and energy work. We work with our bodies, with our voice, through our movements. We dance, we shout, we sing. All these different modalities. And one of the most basic ones, I already mentioned that this basic space is shared by all beings, both sentient beings as well as Buddhas. And as you know, bodhicitta is something very, very important, central really to our practice. Compassion, practicing for the benefit of all beings, not only for the benefit of ourselves, individuals, but practicing for the sake of all beings, including all beings in our practice, dedicating merit, which means like a part of our benefits with all others. And this is already, it's a dynamic activity that has direct impact on our subtle bodies. Generating bodhicitta is also, like I've so many times mentioned before throughout the years, it's also a way to test or measure if the basic space that now we have been sitting here for about 30 minutes, recognizing the basic space, its different characteristics. And I said that if we recognize the basic space, then all beings are already included. So bodhicitta, compassion, is already there. But we can use bodhicitta prayer, compassionate prayer, as a way to measure or test to see whether all beings are really already included and whether our recognition of the basic space is sound, proper, or if there was something, if it wasn't complete yet. So let's generate bodhicitta and see what happens in your subtle body. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. Wish it from your heart. These are just simple words to express the idea, the energy of bodhicitta. You can use your own words. My motivation is to become fully enlightened master, a Mahasiddha, greatly accomplished master, for the sake of all beings. actingly involved with all beings, compassionately involved with all beings. I pray for the liberation and happiness of all beings. Observe what happens in your subtle body. There is dynamic activity, dynamic events taking place at the moment. Look at them. If it feels like recognition of the basic space becomes more complete, then of course that's good. And you should use this information in your practice. I mean in your practice from now onwards. Understanding that even if you think you recognize the basic space, it might not be as full as it can be. On the other hand, if it doesn't become fuller or more complete, but there is just a volume of energy increases, then it means that your recognition of Dharmakaya and Bodhicitta were sound, but it's just that you're being pure energy of the basic state, wakeful nature is generated. So those are two different things.